You know that uncomfortable feeling after a meal? That heaviness in your belly that makes you want to just lie down and do nothing? What if I told you that millions of people over 50 are dealing with this every single day, thinking it's just a normal part of getting older? Here's the truth that most people don't realize. That persistent bloating, that sluggish digestion, that feeling like your stomach is constantly working against you, it doesn't have to be your reality. And what's fascinating is that some of the most effective solutions come from a place where people regularly live past 100 with flat, comfortable bellies and incredible digestive health. I'm talking about specific gentle movements that have been practiced for generations, movements so simple that anyone can do them, yet so powerful that they can transform how your body processes food and eliminates waste. Hello, I'm Dr. Helen Brooks, and I've spent over 20 years as a gastroenterologist helping patients just like you overcome digestive issues that they thought they'd have to live with forever. In my practice, I've seen thousands of patients who came to me frustrated, uncomfortable, and honestly pretty hopeless about their bloating and digestive problems. And what I've discovered over these 2 decades might surprise you. Some of the most effective interventions aren't complicated medical procedures or expensive medications. They're gentle, intentional movements that work with your body's natural systems to promote healthy digestion and reduce that awful bloated feeling. Before we dive into these incredible techniques, if you haven't subscribed yet, I really recommend you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another health tip made especially for you. And if you find this video helpful, please leave your suggestions and questions in the comments below. I read every single one of them, and it helps me create more videos to help more people just like you. Now, let me tell you why I became so passionate about these particular movements. A few years ago, I had a patient named Margaret. She was 67 years old, a retired elementary school teacher who had spent her whole career nurturing young minds. Margaret came to me absolutely miserable. She told me, "Dr. Brooks, I feel like I'm carrying a balloon in my stomach all day, every day. I used to love having lunch with my former colleagues, but now I avoid going out because I know I'll be so uncomfortable afterward that I won't enjoy myself." Margaret had tried everything. She'd eliminated foods, taken supplements, even tried some over-the-counter medications that gave her temporary relief but never solved the underlying problem. Her bloating was affecting her sleep, her mood, and her relationships. She confided in me that her husband had stopped inviting her to dinner dates because he knew she'd be miserable by dessert. What struck me about Margaret's case, and honestly about so many cases I see, is that her digestive system wasn't necessarily broken. It was sluggish. It needed gentle encouragement to function optimally. That's when I started researching traditional movement practices, and what I found in certain gentle techniques absolutely changed how I approach digestive wellness with my patients. You see, in cultures where these movements are practiced regularly, digestive complaints are significantly less common among older adults. And it's not just about what they eat, though that plays a role. It's about how they move their bodies in ways that specifically support digestive function. These aren't high-intensity exercises that leave you exhausted. They're gentle, intentional movements that anyone at any fitness level can perform. And the science behind why they work is actually quite fascinating. Let me explain what happens in your body as you get older that makes bloating such a common complaint. After 50, several changes occur that directly impact your digestive system. First, your stomach produces less hydrochloric acid, which means food doesn't break down as efficiently. Second, the muscular contractions that move food through your intestines, called peristalsis, naturally slow down. Third, many people become less active, which further reduces the natural movement that helps your digestive system function properly. Add to this the fact that many medications commonly prescribed for people over 50 can affect gut motility, and you have a perfect storm for chronic bloating and discomfort. But here's the good news. Your body is remarkably adaptable. With the right gentle movements, you can actually stimulate your digestive system to work more efficiently, regardless of your age. These techniques work by increasing blood flow to your digestive organs, gently massaging your intestines through specific body positions, stimulating the vagus nerve which controls much of your digestive function, and reducing stress hormones that can literally stop your digestion in its tracks. The first movement I want to share with you is something I call the morning awakening breath. This is based on a traditional technique that specifically targets the diaphragm, and let me tell you, your diaphragm is far more important to your digestion than most people realize. When you breathe deeply using your diaphragm, you're actually giving your internal organs a gentle massage with every breath. The diaphragm sits right above your stomach and liver, and when it moves fully up and down, it creates a pumping action that helps move things along in your digestive tract. I had a patient named Robert, 72 years old, a former accountant who loved his morning coffee and newspaper routine. Robert came to me complaining of constant upper abdominal pressure. He said, "It feels like someone is sitting on my stomach from the moment I wake up until I finally fall asleep at night." When I asked Robert about his breathing, he looked at me like I was crazy. "What does breathing have to do with my stomach?" he asked. But when I had him demonstrate how he breathed, I noticed immediately that he was a shallow chest breather. His belly barely moved when he inhaled. Years of sitting at a desk had trained his body to breathe inefficiently, and his digestive system was paying the price. I taught Robert this simple technique. You sit comfortably, either on a chair or on the floor if that's comfortable for you. Place one hand on your chest and one on your belly. As you breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4, focus on pushing your belly hand outward while keeping your chest hand relatively still. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6, letting your belly naturally fall back in. The key is to make this a slow, controlled movement. You're not forcing anything. You're simply allowing your diaphragm to move through its full range of motion. Robert was skeptical, but he agreed to practice this for 5 minutes every morning before getting out of bed. 3 weeks later, he came back to my office with tears in his eyes. "Dr. Brooks," he said, "for the first time in years, I woke up and didn't immediately feel that pressure. I actually enjoyed my coffee this morning without that heavy feeling." Robert continued practicing this technique, and over the following months, his chronic upper abdominal discomfort reduced significantly. He told me it was like his digestive system finally woke up after sleeping for years. If you're finding these techniques helpful and you're still with me, drop a comment below with the number 1 just to let me know you're following along. It really helps me know that this information is reaching the people who need it. The second movement builds on the first and specifically targets the lower digestive tract. I call it the gentle seated twist, and it's incredibly effective for people who struggle with that lower belly bloat that makes your pants feel tight by the end of the day. This technique works by gently compressing and then releasing the abdominal organs, which stimulates movement in the intestines and helps trapped gas find its way out naturally. Let me tell you about Patricia, 64 years old, a wonderful woman who had recently retired from her career as a dental hygienist. Patricia came to me absolutely frustrated. She said, "Dr. Brooks, I look pregnant by dinner time every single day. I start the morning feeling okay, and by afternoon I can barely button my pants. I've stopped wearing anything with a waistband because I never know how much I'm going to expand." Patricia's lower intestinal bloating was affecting her confidence and her social life. She had turned down an invitation to her granddaughter's dance recital because she was embarrassed about how she might look in photos. After ruling out any serious underlying conditions, I taught Patricia the seated twist technique. You sit comfortably in a chair with your feet flat on the floor. As you exhale, you slowly rotate your torso to the right, placing your left hand on your right knee and your right hand on the back of the chair or behind you. The key is to initiate the twist from your waist, not your shoulders. You hold this position for 5 slow breaths, imagining each exhale helping to gently squeeze your digestive organs. Then you slowly return to center and repeat on the other side. Patricia committed to doing this twist 3 times on each side, twice a day. She did it after breakfast and after lunch. Within 2 weeks, she called my office to report that her afternoon bloating had reduced by at least half. By the 1-month mark, she proudly attended her granddaughter's recital, wearing a beautiful fitted dress. "I actually felt comfortable in my own body," she told me later, crying with joy. "I didn't spend the whole evening worried about how my stomach looked." But here's what really surprised me about Patricia's progress, and this leads me to the third movement that I want to share with you. While the twist helped her afternoon bloating, she was still experiencing discomfort in the evenings. When I dug deeper, I realized that Patricia, like so many people her age, was experiencing what I call stress-related digestive shutdown. You see, your nervous system has 2 main modes: fight or flight, which is controlled by your sympathetic nervous system, and rest and digest, which is controlled by your parasympathetic nervous system. Here's the problem: many of us spend most of our day in some level of fight or flight mode. We're worried about finances, health concerns, family issues, or just the general anxiety that seems to be everywhere these days. And when you're in that stressed state, your body literally shuts down digestive function because it thinks it needs to conserve energy for running away from danger. The third movement I want to teach you specifically activates your parasympathetic nervous system and tells your body it's safe to digest. I call it the supported forward fold, and it's based on a gentle posture that creates a sense of safety and calm in the body, while simultaneously applying gentle pressure to the abdominal region. I want to tell you about another patient, Harold, 70 years old, a former construction supervisor who described himself as always on edge. Harold came to me with terrible digestive problems that seemed to have no pattern. Some days he was fine, other days he was miserable. When I asked about his lifestyle, he admitted that retirement had been hard on him. Without the structure of work, he felt anxious and purposeless. My mind races all day, he confessed, and I think it's affecting my gut. Harold was absolutely right. The gut-brain connection is one of the most important and least understood aspects of digestive health. When your brain is in a state of constant worry, it sends signals through the vagus nerve that literally slow down or stop digestive processes. This is why you might lose your appetite when you're nervous or feel sick to your stomach when you're stressed. The supported forward fold works by activating the relaxation response. You sit on the edge of a chair or on the floor with your legs extended in front of you. If you're on the floor and can't reach your feet comfortably, bend your knees slightly. The important thing is that you're not straining. You place a pillow or folded blanket on your thighs. Then, as you exhale, you slowly fold forward from your hips, resting your torso on the pillow. Let your arms hang heavy or rest them wherever is comfortable. Close your eyes and focus on breathing slowly and deeply. The pressure of your body against the pillow combined with the forward fold position sends powerful signals to your nervous system that you're safe. You can stay in this position for 2 to 5 minutes. Harold was resistant at first. "I'm not the type to sit around doing breathing exercises," he told me, but his discomfort was severe enough that he was willing to try anything. I asked him to practice this forward fold every evening before dinner. Just 3 minutes of holding this position while breathing slowly. The results were remarkable. Within 10 days, Harold reported that his evening meals were no longer causing severe discomfort. Within a month, he said something that really touched me. "Dr. Brooks, I think I'm actually starting to relax for the first time since I retired. My wife says I'm easier to be around, and my stomach seems to have finally gotten the memo." What Harold experienced was the powerful connection between mental relaxation and digestive function. By regularly activating his parasympathetic nervous system, he was training his body to stay in a digestive-friendly state more of the time. If you're still watching and you've made it this far, I want you to know that you're exactly the kind of person who takes your health seriously, and that matters more than you know. Please consider hitting that like button if you're finding this valuable. It helps more people find this information. Now let me share the fourth movement with you, and this one is specifically designed for people who wake up in the morning already feeling bloated. Does that sound familiar? You go to bed feeling relatively okay, but when you wake up, your stomach is distended and uncomfortable before you've even had breakfast. This is more common than you might think, and it usually has to do with how your digestive system processes things overnight, combined with your sleeping position and morning routines. This fourth technique is what I call the knee-to-chest compression, and it's been used traditionally to help stimulate morning bowel movements and release trapped gas that accumulates overnight. The beauty of this movement is that you can do it before you even get out of bed. I'll never forget a patient named Dorothy, 73 years old, a former florist who had the sweetest disposition despite dealing with terrible morning bloating for years. Dorothy told me, "I dread mornings now. I used to love waking up early to tend my garden, but now I wake up feeling so heavy and uncomfortable that I just lie there feeling miserable until it passes. Sometimes it takes hours." Dorothy's morning bloating was robbing her of the most peaceful part of her day. She had tried eating dinner earlier, avoiding certain foods, even elevating the head of her bed. Nothing helped consistently. When I taught her the knee-to-chest compression, her eyes lit up. "You mean I can do something about this while I'm still in bed?" she asked hopefully. The technique is simple. While lying on your back, you bring one knee up toward your chest, clasping your hands around your shin, just below the knee. You gently pull the knee closer to your chest, holding for 5 to 10 breaths. Then you switch to the other leg. After doing each leg individually, you bring both knees up together and hold them close to your chest, gently rocking side to side if that feels comfortable. This movement works by compressing the ascending and descending portions of your colon, which helps move gas and waste material that may have settled during the night. The rocking motion adds a gentle massage effect that further stimulates movement. Dorothy started doing this every morning before getting out of bed. She spent about 3 to 5 minutes on the sequence. After just 1 week, she called my office in disbelief. "Dr. Brooks, I woke up and actually felt light. I got up and went straight to my garden. I had forgotten what mornings used to feel like." Dorothy has been practicing this technique for over 2 years now, and she tells me her morning bloating is a thing of the past. More importantly, she's back to enjoying the part of her day she loves most. The fifth movement addresses something that many people don't realize is contributing to their bloating: poor posture. When you slouch, you compress your abdominal organs, which can slow digestion and trap gas. This is especially problematic for people who spend a lot of time sitting. This technique is what I call the cat-cow breathing sequence, and it's a gentle flowing movement that alternates between flexing and extending the spine while coordinating with your breath. Let me tell you about Arthur, 68 years old, a retired bus driver who spent 35 years sitting behind the wheel. Arthur came to me with chronic midsection bloating and discomfort. He said, "I feel like my middle is permanently compressed. Even when I try to stand up straight, something feels stuck." When I examined Arthur's posture, I noticed what I see in so many of my patients: a forward curve in the upper back, rounded shoulders, and a shortened front body. Years of sitting had literally compressed his digestive space. The cat-cow sequence helps reverse this compression. You start on your hands and knees, with your wrists directly under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. If this position is uncomfortable for your wrists, you can make fists instead, or do this movement standing with your hands on a counter. As you inhale, you let your belly drop toward the floor while lifting your tailbone and chin toward the ceiling. This is the cow position, and it creates a gentle arch in your spine while opening up the front of your body. As you exhale, you reverse the movement, rounding your spine toward the ceiling, tucking your tailbone under, and bringing your chin toward your chest. This is the cat position. You flow between these two positions, inhaling into cow and exhaling into cat for 10 to 15 repetitions. Arthur was willing to try anything to feel better. He practiced this sequence every morning and evening. Within 3 weeks, he reported feeling like his midsection had opened up for the first time in years. His chronic midsection discomfort decreased significantly, and he noticed that he was standing taller naturally. "My wife asked if I'd gotten taller," he told me with a laugh. "I told her no, I just finally learned how to use the space I already have." Now I want to share something important with you before we move on to the sixth movement. If you've been dealing with chronic bloating and you've tried dietary changes without success, these movements might be the missing piece you've been looking for. But I also want to be very clear. Persistent bloating can sometimes be a sign of underlying health conditions that need medical attention. If you're experiencing severe pain, unexplained weight loss, blood in your stool, or bloating that suddenly appeared and doesn't respond to anything, please see your healthcare provider. These movements are complementary to medical care, not a replacement for it. All right, the sixth and final movement is perhaps my favorite because it addresses the entire digestive system holistically. I call it the gentle flowing sequence, and it combines elements of the previous movements into a comprehensive routine that takes about 10 minutes to complete. This is based on flowing movements that have been practiced for centuries to promote digestive health and overall well-being. I want to tell you about one more patient, Eleanor, 71 years old, a retired nurse who thought she knew everything about health. Eleanor came to me feeling defeated. "Dr. Brooks, I've spent my whole career helping other people, and now I can't even help myself feel comfortable after a meal. I've tried individual techniques, but nothing seems to work consistently." Eleanor's case was complex. She had bloating in the morning, discomfort after meals, and that heavy feeling in the evening. It seemed like her digestive system was struggling at every stage of the day. When I introduced Eleanor to this complete sequence, something shifted. Instead of trying to address one symptom at a time, she was giving her entire digestive system comprehensive support. The flowing sequence goes like this. You start with 2 minutes of the morning awakening breath, establishing that deep diaphragmatic breathing pattern. Then you move into the knee to chest compressions for about 2 minutes, first one leg, then the other, then both together. If you're on the floor, you transition to the cat-cow sequence for about 2 minutes. Then you come to a comfortable seated position for the gentle seated twists, about 2 minutes on each side. Finally, you finish with the supported forward fold, staying there for 2 to 3 minutes, while continuing to breathe deeply. Eleanor committed to this 10-minute routine every morning. She told me later, "I thought 10 minutes was going to feel like forever, but once I got into the flow of it, it actually became the most peaceful part of my day." After 6 weeks of consistent practice, Eleanor reported that her digestive symptoms had improved by what she estimated to be 70%. "I'm not saying I never have a bad day," she told me, "but the bad days are rare now, and even when they happen, they're not nearly as severe." What I love about Eleanor's story is that it shows how consistency with these gentle practices can create cumulative benefits. Your digestive system responds to regular, gentle stimulation. It learns to function better when it's given the right kind of support day after day. Now let me give you some practical guidance for incorporating these movements into your life. I recommend starting with just 1 or 2 techniques that address your most bothersome symptoms. If morning bloating is your main issue, focus on the knee to chest compressions. If you struggle with that afternoon heaviness, prioritize the seated twists. If stress seems to be affecting your digestion, make the supported forward fold your go-to practice. Once you've practiced 1 or 2 movements consistently for a couple of weeks and feel comfortable with them, you can start adding others. Eventually, you might work up to the full 10-minute flowing sequence, or you might find that a few specific movements give you all the relief you need. The key is consistency. These techniques work best when practiced regularly. Your digestive system responds to routine and repetition. 5 minutes every day will give you better results than 30 minutes once a week. I also want to mention timing. Many of my patients find that practicing in the morning helps set their digestive system up for the day. Others prefer after meals, when their digestive system is actively working. Some, like Harold, find that evening practice helps them relax and prepare for better overnight digestion. Experiment and find what works best for your body and your schedule. Let me share a few final thoughts that I think are important. These movements are not magic. They're science-based techniques that work with your body's natural systems to promote better digestive function. They require consistent practice and a bit of patience. Most of my patients start noticing improvements within 2 to 4 weeks, but significant changes often take 6 to 8 weeks of regular practice. Also, remember that these movements are meant to complement other healthy habits, not replace them. Staying hydrated, eating plenty of fiber-rich foods, managing stress, and getting regular physical activity all contribute to digestive health. These techniques are an additional tool in your wellness toolkit, one that specifically addresses the mechanical and neurological aspects of digestion that are often overlooked. I've seen these gentle movements transform the lives of so many patients. People who had given up hope of ever feeling comfortable in their bodies again. People who had stopped enjoying meals because they dreaded the aftermath. People who had withdrawn from social activities because of embarrassing symptoms. When they started practicing these techniques consistently, they got their lives back. They started enjoying food again. They went out to dinner with friends. They played with their grandchildren without worrying about discomfort. They woke up feeling light and ready to embrace the day. You deserve to feel comfortable in your body. You deserve to enjoy meals without fear of consequences. You deserve to wake up feeling light and energized. These movements can help you get there, but you have to take the first step. So here's what I want you to do. Choose one movement from this video that addresses your biggest digestive concern. Practice it every day for 2 weeks. Pay attention to how your body responds. Then, if you're seeing benefits, add another technique. Build your practice gradually and consistently. And please, come back and tell me how it's going. Leave a comment below with your experience. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to give them the courage to start their own journey toward digestive wellness. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone you care about who might be struggling with bloating and digestive discomfort. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. I'm working on more content about digestive health, natural movement practices, and how to feel your best at any age. Remember, it's never too late to improve how you feel. Your digestive system has an amazing capacity to respond to the right kind of support, regardless of your age. These gentle movements have helped thousands of people feel lighter, more comfortable, and more confident in their bodies. They can help you too. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I'm Dr. Helen Brooks, and I truly hope this information serves you well. Take care of yourselves, practice these movements with patience and consistency, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, be gentle with your body. It's working hard for you every single day.